currently serving the national coordinator for NPB Students Wing, and also an entrepreneur and a final year student of university.
Very good. Yeah, we are live now. Very
Very
good.
good, very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to our new global media talk show. So today is October 26, 2025. Today we're gonna be discussing about today we're gonna talk about the impact of students wing in the Gambia political dynamics. The impact of student wings in the Gambian political dynamics. We have our guest here today, Yusuf Tunkara. Yusuf is going to lead us through this discussion, and he's going to just go in and then jump right into it. Yusuf, welcome. You have the floor, and I have my co-host Sam Ceesay here. Sam, welcome to the show, Indiana. And I have my other co-host
Yeah.
here, Ousman Camara in the Gambia cartoon. Ousman,
Oh,
welcome.
thank you so very much, Doctor. Thank you so very much, Sam
I have to
Cisse,
press
and
on
thank you so
cartoon
very
because
much.
that is a very pivotal area that Usman kind of make it happen there. So thank you. And I'm your host here, Dr. Momodou Sawaneh in New York. So welcome to the show, Mr. Tunkara.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much, Dr. Sawaneh and Uncle Sam. It's indeed an honor for me and a privilege to be given this opportunity to interact with um, the very industrious sons of this country. So that I will learn a lot from you. I intend to learn a lot from you, and I do not intend to lead the discussion. I think giving me the platform is more or less giving the young people an opportunity to interact with an experienced businessmen like you, not necessarily to come here and actually tell you or the audience what is the role of the young people. Notwithstanding, currently I serve as the national coordinator for NPP Students Wings, by default, the national president, someone who oversees the activity of the students with respect to the political party that we belong to. Any student that associates him or herself with the NPP, I am more or less like a principal entry point for them with regards to what the party want to do for them or what the party intend to engage, how they intend to engage, what are the things that we also think the political parties should be doing in order for her to have young people get involved. And pretty much that's more or less what we are focusing on. I remember in one of our first meetings, I always say that. And then I was just mayor member, not a leader in the executive. And we were told by the party, the student wing should serve the intellectual arm of the party. And then the party should be very much interested in what the students should be very much interested on how the political parties they operate, how they make the decisions, how they arrive, and how government operates. And of course, in moving forward, there's a clear intention to have the students pretty much taking over or pretty much being involved in the day-to-day run of the political parties. As a result, the NPP as a party decided to open up its arms for the students' wing, at least under my leadership. They've allocated us an office in their headquarters before moving to the new one. And after moving there as well, the same thing was accorded to us. I think our involvement in is more of advocacy because in this country or any other country, um, the most of the political establishment took their leaders in many cases from their academic institutions. So they have this movement in every school, every high and university that young people play their politics on their own level. For instance, in our case in University of the Gambia, we have our own way of playing our politics in getting our members or being elected rising to the elective offices, and that is done based on our competency, ability, desire to serve, and of course making yourself available. At the same thing apply to national level. So for us as the leaders who are working very closely with our party leadership, we see as an opportunity for us to make changes in how politics, how we play politics in this country, in the Gambia. For me, what I see is students' involvement in politics should be more of engagement, making sure that we do things right, um, we act ethically and professionally, and we make sure that we are more of a national driven as against politically driven when it comes to our decision making, when it comes to reacting to the issues that happen around us. For me as a leader, that's what I always advocate. Whenever I had a chance to talk with my colleagues, either at the executive level or at the general membership level, I always advocate for that. Of course, I also always advocate for the fact that the students, the party also need to give some due recognition to the young people in order to avail them opportunity, not only to use them only when political activity started, but also put them in a position where they can easily take over the leadership, or they can be used to serve one or two things for the party when the need arise. So it should be bottom-top approach to me. That's how I advocate for. We also do a lot of advocacy in the party, within the party, to make sure that the young people that has their issues that need to be addressed in terms of not only necessarily only academia, for instance. We also get involved in some of the decision makings of the party. We try to negotiate, we try to lobby, we try to discuss. As we are told, politics is all about negotiation, lobbying, reaching out, putting your case, and of course, strongly putting your case and trying to convince whoever is to be convinced to buy, to see reason why he should go with you as against the initial stance. So we also do a lot of that. And when young people has an issue in going on in the country, as a young people of the party, we do not go out in many cases to protest or to fight in the name of we are fighting government. But of course, we are definitely share the same constituency with many young people that are saying, and we share the same lot of sentiment together. What we do is we do more of advocacy, reaching out to the authority, telling them what needs to be done, what ought not to, what they should do, what they should not do, what we think should be done. In many cases, we see them listening to us and also taking some of our advice. I think that's for me is an opportunity and at the same time and a challenge. So I do think that young people, we should be civil with our engagement, and we should be honest, and we should be transparent, because at the end of the day, we are going to be the future leader of this country, and nobody can come and salvage this country for us, regardless of what we think is going on. So it all starts from us, and of course, for us, we should not play politics of hatred, bitterness, anger, division. Those things doesn't take us anywhere. So that's what we push for. That's what I think we should be pushing for. As for me, at my level, that's what I push for. And then I think it's important for young people to get involved and makes our hands dirty, because a leadership again cannot be handed over to anybody in a silver plate, and you has to work for it. That's the bottom line. So there is no way you can be called and say just come and serve or to come and take over. You just got to get your hands dirty and get involved and get close to the political party and know how they operate.
Thank you so much. That is a brief introduction of
No,
your role. Can you hear me? Yusuf, you guys can
Yes,
hear
sir.
me, right? Okay. Very good insight of your role.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That is a very good insight on the discussion of the impact of students' wing in the Gambian political dynamics. So I would definitely try to come out, look at some of the areas that you spoke about, and then have some questions for you. So the first thing that I would want to look at is the students' involvement in politics. Do you have a like a streamline or like a red tape of up to what level students can be involved? Because the students are at schools to get education. Now they need their focus on the areas of studies. Not all students are gonna be politicians or are interested in those areas. So if political engagement become something that students have to deal with, that involves a lot of activities. It involves a lot of debates. It involves sometimes politics can be cruel in terms of the engagements we see, or communities, especially people take it passionate to the point that families get into issues, and some people insults and all of that. How is that? If you compare that, the negatives of our Gambian politics. How is that to the positive of students getting involved? Because remember, there is life after student after students' life. Like there's a lot of time for students to be deeply involved in after school or after graduations. But during the time of the tenure of their studies, would it be more advantageous to have them engage in other things that will maybe help them to learn civic education, maybe help them to know, how to become, yeah, how to become like a patriotic citizen, how to put their nation first. Would it be better to really focus on that than to physically or politically engage with political parties? I want you to look at the pros and cons on that. That would be something that I will ask you.
I, Okay, thank you, Uncle Sam. Actually, that's very true. It's important for students to focus on the academia because at the end of the day, we have a career to take to build as well. So
Right.
we know the kind of society we are in. Once you have been seen to be more with one or two other political parties, you always tend to get hesitations to come on your way, job opportunity. We know our society is very small, and a lot of people go through that because you just supported a particular group of people. Your boss will deny you an opportunity that should be given to you. I saw that in many cases. I have friends who go through that. They told them, look, go to your place, let them get your job, and when the person qualified for that. But like I said, again, if you look at in our case in Gambia, even in our university, we play politics. So we have political parties in our university that only play university politics. So that those parties is only those who are willing and prepared to put themselves forward as a candidate or interested to serve. It's not everybody that is interested to actually serve or and be called to serve. There are people who their sole aim is to come to uni, study, and get their grades and their papers and go and get their job done. So there are also people that who are naturally, participatory in nature. So we opening up the space for those who are interested to get involved. And of course, also availing those an opportunity who want to just learn and go home and do and go and participate in nation building in a different way. At the end of the day, we have to build a nation. And university students cannot just sit idly and said, okay, we're just going to go to school and finish and go and get a job and work. Look, our policymakers are the politicians from all angles. We staying away, in my view, we staying away from politics, called danger for us. Because if all good and intellectual people run away from getting involved into politics because they have to build their career, they have to invest their businesses, they need to get things done for their family, we will have a country that will not we will continue complaining forever. So to me, that's what drives me. And anybody who is for example, in our NPP students, that's what I told them. The way we came together to establish our party in the University of the Gambia, get people voted, pushing them to have their policy forward, making sure that once they are voted into office, they get things done, and in the same way that we should apply it in going nationally. So it's not for me. It's important for one to focus on your education when you're in university, but it's also important for the young people of this country to get involved from day one. That is from the uni level. Even after you, if your job doesn't allow you to get involved into politics, you weigh your opportunities, and then you do you do your own analysis. If you want to focus on career, you move on and go and do your career. But if you want to play in politics, you want to stay in, you want to continue with politics, you still build yourself and build and do politics. So what we don't do as a political party, for instance, is we don't get involved in the university internal politics. Okay, we do not do that. What we do is we advocate for, and when we are doing our advocacy as a, again, it does not only gear towards people that see themselves as NPP students wing membership. Like I said, the students wing or the students job in the political parties is to avail them an opportunity to learn ahead of time. By the time they go to a position of power and authority, they do not have to learn. They don't have to go. They don't have to be confused. So they know what things are. So they can actually push and also try to change the narrative. We all know what is happening in this country. And then if you did not work for me, and I become president or whatever, obviously there's a probability of me not working for you is very high, no matter how competent you are. And we are also very much aware being a leader is not only based on competence. Like the saying goes, the most beautiful lady in the country, they call it Miss Gambia. It's not might not actually be the most beautiful lady in the country, but he or she is part of the people that put their names on the paper and said they want to contest or they want to put themselves forward for this particular job. And among them, he or she got it. So again, young people, as we grow older, we can't continue complaining. And the only way we can stop that is to get involved from day one. From our younger age, we have to get involved. We need to know what is happening. Because at the end of the day, the young people are many, but those that who actually had opportunity to actually go to high schools and study university and complete the university, actually you can't just leave them like that. So they start asking critical questions, even within their political parties, and that way they push for some of the reforms that we will probably be complaining of. But if we all sit down, like I said, and say that we are not getting involved, I don't want to be part of any political party. I just want to get university, finish university, go get my job and do work. If I make money, I build my house, stay with my family. That's good. But there's no point building your whole house, having a whole lot of money, when the majority of the people in the country are poor. And they cannot feed themselves. I don't know if you have to get into your house, lock your door, you can't go out. So it brings no benefit. And like I said, if good people run away from getting involved, then the bad people take over. And if they do, we will all know what that means. So I don't want to be part of those young people who want to sit and say, you know what, I just want to mind my business. I want to make my money, and I don't want to get involved. So for me, that's my stand. I think it's important for young people to get involved.
Right. Just so before my co-host they come in, just to follow up a little bit on that. You mentioned a lot of great things about having to learn, prior and maybe seek opportunities and get to know these politicians so that they can groom you and all of that. All those looks nice, and then they feels good. The only thing here is that what I was emphasizing is that in order for somebody to be successful, civic education, we all know, is one area. I don't know how that curriculum is programmed in your universities, but that's one area that needed a lot of strength to kind of promote, these institutional, potential capabilities to lead these institutions. So that is a little bit different from political parties being groomed in an environment, in a university environment. Because you mentioned MPP. Now, my other question is, how are other political parties in terms of UDP, NRP, and all other political parties? Do they have the fair share? Because if MPP is grooming, or people are, on MPP are, forming student wings, I mean, or I believe it should be done across the board to bring equilibrium in the debate. And another thing that you mentioned too, somebody also could kind of like question um, such formation, in terms of when it comes to opportunities. What I mean opportunities like funding, school when you're there, you need your school to be funds, like you need certain scholarship, you need equity and fairness. So a leading government, if that one has a political wing, or kind of like a group that actually promotes the agenda, or kind of educate those people about what that particular party is doing, that could also be a disadvantage, and we need a playing field in this political landscape so that every party could really contest and then be empowered. So I think the propaganda should be across the board if it has to be implemented to bring equity and fairness, and it should also be in a way that will not distract the students. It's very important. Students have so much work to do. I've been a student all my life, so I know, how this political thing can take time of, for plate. Every engagement. I'm mostly community person, but even that takes a lot of time from my plate, from my studies. if I want to maintain good grades and then have a successful career. So all these things are tabled, but I understand your argument, which is to prepare people, to get them in touch with the realities on the ground. Yes, those are important, but that could be done, civically. That's what my if that direction is taken, I think that would be a plain fail. Or all the other political parties we should have their groups there, and then kind of like that should be an incentive given to them, or probably a way to create that to bring equality and equity to the debate to the debate. Uh, so I would, if you don't have
Okay.
anything, I would like
Thank you. I will start with the last one.
yeah,
Can I come in?
yeah, you can come in, then Sam can come in.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. So for NPP, for the other parties, I can't speak for them. I don't know why they don't have their students' wings in across. Of course, for us, we do. We are like more of an tend to
Is it
support
post?
the President Barrow and his party. So we are like a group that comes together, identify themselves with the President Barrow and his party, and then we just form this kind of lobby group. From that's how this whole thing started. So the idea is we don't have any authority on who get admission into University of the Gambia. We don't have authority on who go to class, who doesn't. We are just like a groups that who actually see themselves. But it's not only University of the Gambia. We have membership across Iowa, UTG, Gambia College. We have annexes across the country. So we have people that apply themselves with NPP. So that's what we do. So what we do more of at our end is more of capacity building training. That's what we advocate more for them. And of course, scholarship opportunities. We always lobby for the party to get scholarships. Just as if we are following the Gambian political space. Just a few days ago, NPP has awarded 120 students in tertiary institutions and across the schools, not only the University of the Gambia. University of the Gambia, Iowa, Gambia College, some other institutions and private institutions. So NPP have given all of them. So that's some of the things that we do. Recently, just a month or two ago, we've conducted what do you call a leadership training again for over 150 students, and then it's a day-long training. That's also something that we have been doing, and so many other things that we normally do. We also lobby for many students who has issue with last-minute payment. Some have scholarships, some doesn't. They have been struggling to pay, but at the end of the day, they are done. They can't pay and they can't call the attestation. We try to lobby and get people to help them pay. Sometimes we do formal, we ask them write letters, and then we take them to people that we think could be of help. That could be you, that could be anybody. So we use our networks, our connection, our influence to us, and get them to apply to be registered, and also get in some cases get them payment that needed for them to get the attestation and go on to their job. And the association of MPP students is supposed for one to be a member, you have to be a university student or and a student in any of the tertiary institutions in the country. Of course, but for the last year or thereabout, we actually start seeing also the high school students also expanding their interest, and of course, we also do like town halls at the high schools, and like Bantaba, having just a chat on how well, what do they think is going on. It's more of a collecting information, and of course, association of friends that comes together and see the particular party. At the end of the day, political party also empower these young people, not only because they want them to be votes, but of course, they also want them to support their party agendas. So our advocacy is more of helping people and attracting more young people to the party, so that they can understand the inner work of the party at the end of the day. In many cases, now NPP students, we are very much involved in the running of the party. They engage the party leadership, accepted us and they give a lot of opportunity, and they also avail us a lot of inside information to know how to operate. And most of the things that are happening, they engage us or some of our members to get it done. So very easily. So basically, we are working very hard on that. But we are not an statutory body within the University of the Gambia. Government has no say on how we operate. Neither we can dictate how anything that we do contravene the rules at the university. That's going to stand to be expelled or otherwise could happen to him. So the statutory body that is responsible to oversee the day-to-day running of the student at the University of the Gambia, to my knowledge, is our student union executive, whom are independent and apolitically. In order for one to be a member or to want to be elected as a student to be our member of our University of the Gambia student union executive, you has to be apolitical. So you cannot be, even if you are known to be a loyal to a particular party, once you are elected to the office, you are expected to be neutral in your tenure in office. But as for us, our advocacy is all geared towards our party. How do we advance our party agenda at university? How do we get many people to accept us? How do we get many people to support us? Of course, I told them many times, I do not intend to use NDP student as a group of people who are entering Gele to go and canvass and go for a rally. I don't intend to do that. What I do intend to do is both use intelligence, knowledge-based driven political party. That's how we are. That's how I want us to participate, and that's what we have. Since I came in as a leader, we have not been going to rallies to canvass for anything. What we do is we apply knowledge, and then we data to make sure we give advice to the party and look at issues as they are and give our position on issues and let the leaders to push for it. And in many cases, they listen to us, and I think we are making an impact.
Thank you. It appears that MPP's hand is. It appears that MPP's hand is in everything, even in the educational field. But I would let Sam to come in now, my co-host Sam. Sam, you have the floor.
Yep. Well, thank you, Dr. Sawaneh, and thank you, Yusuf Tunkara. Thank you for your time, and
Usam, unfortunately, I don't know what is happening. I don't want to miss any bit of your.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Uncle Sam, can you speak?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Maybe you have a network issue. I'm not. If Dr. Sawaneh can hear me,
I don't want to miss. I can see Uncle Sam has been keenly
you
listening to me.
You shouldn't miss anything that Sam is coming with.
Yes. That's actually what I want to. So please, Uncle Sam, let me set myself.
Okay, all right. I'll wait a little bit before I get into what I wanted to say. But yeah, I think maybe a network issue from your end.
Yeah, but he could hear me though. But I think it was it's between you two. I mean,
yes, I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing Uncle Sam.
Okay,
I'm not sure why.
So we have a gentle somebody by the name Tida. Also, is he just listening, or he's just she wanna come in?
We can invite Tida to come in if she has something to say, if she wants to say something, or maybe she's just listening.
Okay, good.
We can you hear me?
Yeah, let me add Tunkara on the other one and then remove him on the other one.
Yes.
I can hear him loud and clear.
No, I want to remove him here because Tunkara, which one is good?
Yes. I'm good here.
You're good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Very clear.
All right. Good. Yep. That's I can hear you all very loud and clear.
So, before you go, Sam, Tida, would Tida be also interested to participate?
Yeah. Do you want to ask her? See if she is out.
She left. Okay. She was listening, but she can listen. Tell her that
she can listen.
Tell her to come back and she can listen. That's not a problem.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tunkara, thank you for your time. I know I wanted to ask one of the questions I wanted to ask. Dr. Sawaneh already asked that, and you've responded to that. So, thank you. I am going to kind of get into certain details because, as a student wing in a university of the Gambia, especially, from what I can see is. Your movement is politically motivated. You are more into NPP than anything else, and of course represents NPP. Whether there are other movements representing other parties in the university or not, really doesn't matter to you because you're NPP, right?
That's very correct.
Yeah, good. So that part won't matter to you. So what I do want to get into is, I know this is politically motivated, but I wanted to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of this being politically motivated movement, and of course the ruling party is maybe looking after you guys and helping you in certain things, which is all good. The one thing that I do want to advise, in other words, it's an advice, is are you guys looking
Okay.
at politics in detail and also looking at governance and seeing what is happening in your administration, which is NPP administration, to see what are the good things that they're doing? I know everybody can look at the good things that they're doing, but some of the bad things or some of the things that I would call areas of opportunities. And as students, can you look at their, or do you guys look at their areas of opportunities and discuss among yourself and say to yourself, well, we know that this and that is good, but this one is really bad or it's not good. What can we do? I know you also have limitations because I know how Gambia is. You know, sometimes when you spoke up, when you speak up, I mean to say, when you speak up very well, some people can take that against you. I understand the sensitivity around it, but it's I think it's very important as youths, because youths are the future of our country. One day, one of you guys could be in the government one day, right? And we hope one of you or all of you
That's
continue
true.
your education to a level where you can become leaders one day. So are you looking at the areas of opportunities and discussing among yourselves what you are not going to do or what you're not going to allow to happen while you're in the government, or if you're in the government? And not only that, but what the areas of opportunities are the things that you guys should discuss and look for corrective actions. What can you do? What are the solutions for these so that you can make a difference? And if you ever get a chance to meet with the president, vice president, and any of the ministers or anybody in the government, that you can also do your humble advice to that person and say, you know what, from the youth wing, uh, here are some of the things that we talk about. We've seen all the good things that you guys are doing, and thank you for doing that. But we've also seen the negative part of it, things that are not going well. Is there any way that you guys can do this, and that? Basically, give suggestions and give, because, like I said, you're not in authority. You don't have any authority. You can't change anything in the government. But as a youth and a good, faithful citizen or patriot citizen in the country, you have every right to speak your mind and say what is right for a country. Because my mind and my mindset is for Gambia. It doesn't matter who is the president. I look at Gambia and I tell people the truth. I see, when I see good, I talk about the good and thank people for doing the good. When I see something that is above and beyond, then I will express my sincere appreciation for that, because it's real above and beyond. But when I see areas of opportunities or things that are not going well, I also talk about those to make sure that they hear me loud and clear that this is not right or it's not good, and here is the better way. I don't like to criticize, not necessarily criticize people. I do constructive criticism. Here is, I can say to people, I say to the government, you guys are doing this, and that. Here's a better way of doing it. I just don't want to tell you that is wrong. I want to tell you what is right. What is one way that you can take that can make a big difference? It may not be the only answer, but it surely can make a difference. So, from the youth wing, do you guys discuss anything like that where you can also make an impact?
Oh, actually, yes.
Okay.
Um, we we have made several interventions. I will not be specific,
Okay.
but I will give you synopsis. I told you earlier, we do also pass information to policymakers in certain issues
Good.
that we think need to be dealt with. As you are aware, in several occasions, issues arise in the University of the Gambia when it
Yep.
comes to academia and all that stuff. So many people that are following knows that there are, in several occasions, issues happen in the University of the Gambia. In many cases, we do not forget the fact that we are students, regardless of what party we belong to nationally. So we do give our honest opinion on some of those issues, But like I said, we had opportunity and the privilege to meet the authority and tell them and our positions. So we see no reason why we should go out publicly to let people know this is what we told authority. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how you tell them; it's about resolving whatever crisis that we have in the country. So in so many instances, I can tell you, we get involved. We give them our perspective on issues. We will analyze it and tell them the honest truth as an insider or as a group of people who are actually affected one way or the other. One of them is the I think the recently the last demonstration that and were held at UTG campus, for instance. I personally was there with whole day, not as a participant or for or against, but as a student and a spectator. And of course, as someone also who actually represents the interests of a political party beyond my loyalty to the University of the Gambia as a student. So I needed to be sure that there's a law and order in the place and there's no breakdown of law because many students knew me. Everybody literally knows me because I've been there for 4 years and I've been involved from day one. So I am not someone who is not known in the University of the Gambia. So we get involved that the system calm down. Those who are there can attest to that. After that, of course, I get involved in so many negotiations and to make sure that we lower the temper. And I also inform the authority that a step that needed to be taken. And I was glad that to see the step that the government and the authority took in resolving some of them. I went as far as meeting ministers and telling them what my honest opinion. I went to senior government officers and tell them my honest opinions, what I think ought to be done, and the step that needed to be taken. And I also advised against the step that need not to be taken. So in so many cases, including the protests that are happening, we always get involved. We always give our honest opinions and to authority. And in many cases, our opinions we see them, listening to. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why anyone who follows me, I always say that's why I love the president. He listens to everybody and then he do what he thinks is right. So regardless of where the message comes from. So we do that actually. And we have to communicate and also they listen to us. And in many cases, we see one or two things that we suggested are implemented.
Very good, very good. That answers some of my questions for sure. And I'm glad that you guys are engaging in doing that because that was my concern of such movements. When you have such movements, they tend to be very loyal to the political party to a point where they don't want to cause anything and they just want to follow them, whether they're doing good or bad. They still follow them and support them. I want to make sure that you guys have a purpose and you have core values that you follow to make sure that your voice is heard and heard in the right way so that it can help the decision makers making to make the right decisions in some areas. So you do have some influence in there, which is good. That's what I was looking for. So that's good. I just don't like movements that follow a leader that is wrong and they continue to follow the wrong leader in the wrong direction, for example, so that's why I was asking that. But I'm glad that you guys are doing you guys are doing something in within the university there to get involved in getting your message across as well to the government, to the authorities, which is good, which is very good. I'm gonna allow Dr. Sawaneh to come in or someone else that want to come in, and maybe I will circle back later. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question, Sam. And then, of course, our guest is for Tunkara. Thank you for answering that. So my other question here is since they have the opportunity to talk, bring issues like demonstration and others. This group has, even though he loves the president, which is definitely nice of him. The question here I have is like the opportunity part. He said that they give opportunity. The opportunities, are they selective or they are based on people affiliated with the group? The opportunities or fundings, are they selective or what is the criteria for that? And is the criteria also transparent and accountable?
Okay. These opportunities, I'll answer this in two ways. Okay. Um, because the situation varies. It depends on what is on table and what actually is there for it to be shared. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'll start with what the what Uncle Sam
Just give
said.
us the
Uh,
just give us a scenario of what usually be on the table. What in most cases are on the table.
yes,
and,
I,
and then based on that, you can answer.
I'll actually come to that. I'll actually come to that. But I like what Uncle Sam said. We are not actually a young people that only go by what we call hook, line, and sinker. Okay. I always say that for me as a person, I believe my loyalty first lie with God, my faith, and of course my country, and then my political party. So these are my guiding principles as in whatever I enter into. That's the personal belief that I have. But notwithstanding, of course, as political parties and members affiliated to a group, uh, when we have issues that, okay, I'll give some specific examples. When we are conducting our training, for instance, we sat down and now discuss how do we select people that participate for the training. And we come to the conclusion that the idea is training. Training is transferring knowledge to people. So I think anybody who needed it or who interested should go. It's only those that who go to school to register are those that are interested. There are so many people that graduated, but those that only go and apply for admission to further are interested. So we now say let's open it up. But one criteria is the person must be a university student or equivalent or tertiary in any schools or being a diploma or a degree or diploma in any case. But we will not accept any applicant who is a high school, a newly graduate, or a high school student. So that's one of the qualifications for that training, because we know that the syllabuses that are going to be developed and the people that are going to come there to train them and resource persons, you cannot bring somebody who is a little bit behind and it's a one-day training and in case some case 2 days. So those are one of the qualifications. Apart from that, we open it up online. We do not call people and say apply. What we do is we do online recruitment. We share it and ask everybody to share it. And people apply it. And in many cases, we have like we only take what we can take. So we look at what they submit and what they their submission and have them selected based on the what the committee think is best fit to participate for that particular terrain, the area of interest and of course so many things. They will look at so many things, but those are one of the things is this for university students or any tertiary institution, being a diploma or degree. So we don't look at NPP, either you are NPP or a non-NPP. But what we do envisage is that anybody, in application form, you will see that the NPP logo is there. So in our view, our expectation is that anybody who see NPP logo and decided to apply and want to be trained, that's spearheaded by NPP, the person he's either a neutral person or interested just to learn, or is someone who actually affiliates he herself to the party. So we really do not put any question with regard to their political affiliation when we organize such activities. We don't do you don't ask such question in. We also don't ask such questions during the interview. So that's what we do. But when we are opening up, first, that is one side. And like I said, Uncle Sam and Uncle Sawaneh. But when we are giving scholarship, what we do is we will write a dispatch to our general page. We do not share that to outside the page because we cannot share and this kind of opportunity to, for example, UDP students in group chat, but anybody can take it there and send it there. But for us, our job stop at sharing to our group chat, because we actually want to prioritize our people. Anybody who see him or herself in NPB students wing and be associated with us when opportunity comes, it's only fair and just for us to give them that opportunity. What we don't do is, for me, what we don't do as a leader is to now start calling my friends and colleagues and cousins and say, okay, submit your letters and we are going to do this. No, we don't do that. But everybody, we design, and said, okay, everybody should submit to this particular person or this particular place, this particular day. If the day elapses, you don't submit, that is it, you are done. You cannot be considered. You cannot even shortlisted. So that's what we do. Of course, we do push for our membership. That's why we attract more people to our party.
Okay. All right. So we do push for our membership. That's an incentive out there. So yeah. So this is great. Great initiative. Just the fact, what is deficient in it, in my own judgment, is that we needed to be encouraged across the board, make it aware. Like this is one of the area platforms that will make it aware that these programs exist, because I never ran into that in any of the discussion that I have with the university students here. Perhaps we never really discussed university politics, but because we did invite some university students here on different topics, but this is a great thing that we know it exists, so that other parties could be aware, and perhaps they can try to also go out and create groups, or maybe some of their members there could be also get themselves together, so that the playing field could be fair and have some equity. Now, uh, the where is your source of funding coming from?
So far, like I said, we do not raise fund on our own because we are affiliated to a political party, an organized and well-structured political party. So what we do is the party is the one provide funding for all our activities. In some cases, we will engage some companies to give us some incentives. Maybe at the end of the day, they can also we will use we'll do some marketing for them, or branding for them. But in many cases, our activities are first approved by the party. We are currently working, I'm talking to you, we are working on our next activity that we should be conducting. So our activity has to be sent to the party leadership. They will have to vet it and approve it. Then with the date and all the specification that detail that requires. So the expertise now rely on us to make sure we get it done as it should be. So once it's approved by the party, that's only then we can proceed to conduct any activity. We do not conduct activity without getting okay or approval from the national leadership of the party. So the party, by to answer your question, yes, it's the party that funds us.
Okay. Another thing that I will ask, I know university has some legislative body, or perhaps advisors or legal folks. Have they looked into this kind of settings and see whether it kind of align with the constitution or the legalities of the universities?
Well, at the university, actually, I'm a former legislator at the University of the Gambia. I serve as a deputy speaker and also serve as a chairperson of standing committee of finance, budget and finance.
Nice.
So I'm the very person, yes. So it was during my tenure that we investigated, University of the Gambia investigated the incident of $1 million he lost, the incident of another money getting lost by some association, and the incident of both services that when we just moved to Faraba. So all those happened when I was the deputy speaker, and then I was very much involved. So the students' wing, like I told you earlier on, we have our legislative body, as you rightly said, and led by the speaker, and we have executive arm led by the president, and we all have a judicial tribunal led by the chief justice, as the case might be. But our job stopped at managing and regulating the affairs of both active and non-active students. So in our constitution, does not regulate the student involvement in the national politics. However, it do regulate to a certain extent the executive members who are elected to serve students not to get involved to a certain extent into national politics. For instance, the students cannot just got up and just say there's a political issue and we are going to write a statement. That cannot be done. But any issue, no matter how much a student is involved, a student union, if I have an issue with authority, as long as I am no longer serving as a deputy speaker, the student union cannot come as a body on my defense. They might come as a friends of mine, an individual student, to defend me and support me. But what they cannot use is to use the student union and say we are fighting authority because I need to be released because I am an active student. We cannot do that. But when it comes to the individual student participants in national issues and national politics, to my knowledge, our laws, the constitution of a student union, as 2021 amended, does not regulate such. So we are free to associate ourselves. In fact, I think UDP has a political the students wing. Either they have it before NPP or they have, but I want to believe they even start theirs before NPP. Just that we happen to be more vibrant, more active, more involved. So maybe that's why NPP students wing is more known. But we actually started the students wing.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna allow my co-host to come. Perhaps he has some more to add to this, and then we can circle back to wrap it up. Yeah. Our viewers are also excited, and then they are having some comments here that I will read some of those. But it looks like they're excited about the topic. Sam, you have yeah, you have the floor. We can hear you. I think you are muted.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think the conversations are getting very interesting and very important, of course. Oops, he dropped out for some reason.
Yeah,
maybe network error. Yeah. But yeah, so I think this is a good one. Maybe he's coming. All right.
Yes.
All right. You're back.
He didn't want to. He didn't want to miss.
My apologies.
He didn't want to miss your any word.
I don't want to miss any word. Please, thank you.
So the other thing I like to put more emphasis on looking at the future. Looking at the future because you guys are the future. The youths are the future of any country. So. I like to support youth that think about the future and think about their country. And I like your commitment. You said your goal. I don't know the word. I can't remember the exact way you said it, but your commitment to Allah and
my loyalty lie with my faith,
God, and then the country, and then the party.
My faith,
in that order.
And my
yeah, and it's very important in that order. It's very, very important for everybody to think that way. Think about God. Everything that we do here, God knows everything, and we will be held accountable for it, right? And then your country. We all need to look at our country as this is our country. We need to continue to build our country for the future. Gambia, if you think about all the countries in the world that got independence around the same time as Gambia, or some even after Gambia, are way ahead of us. They're way ahead of us. And part of the reason is, well, I won't say part of the reason. I'll hit the nail on the head. The only thing I always call that is corruption. Corruption is our number one problem in the country. Okay, I think every Gambian knows that, but it's something that I talk about in my group as well, very well. I like to continue to fight corruption. So for the youths to be involved in such a movement is very important. And like I said, especially if you think about the future, you think about the country, not just think about the grants and scholarships and things that you guys want. But if you think about the country as well, and put plans together and write proposals as to what can happen to alleviate certain problems in our country, especially gearing towards corruption, because it doesn't make anybody look good if your political party is the governing party, but they have a lot of problems. You guys can turn a blind eye on that, and the party leaders or party members can turn a blind eye on that one. But the majority of the Gambians are going to look at it as from the forefront. They're going to say, "This is our problem." And to be honest, corruption, like I said, it started from independence. Since Gambia got independence, there's been corruption in our country, and up to today, The bad news is it continues to get worse. It continues to get worse. And I like to work with people that look at it from that standpoint and say, what can we do to stop this corruption? So, my question to you, do you guys talk about those and make recommendations as well? And like I said earlier, you have limitations. There are certain things that you cannot do. I know that, and I'm not gonna. That's why I'm not pushing. If you were a minister in the government, I'll be coming differently and be very blunt with that person and say your
I thank
department is
God.
corrupt. You know what I mean? I would be talking
I,
to that minister in the face and tell him their department is corrupt. What is he doing about it? But you don't have that. You guys are in a level where you're learning, you're contributing, but at the same time you're looking at the future of the country, right? So which is all good. So as we look for the future of the country, do you guys think about what can be done to stop corruption in our country?
okay. So, first of all, the corruptions issue is very subjective, and it's require a lot of in-depth analysis as to what is happening beyond what I think is happening. And because for me, as someone who, like I told you, once served as a deputy speaker and also serve as a chairperson of Standing Committee on Finance and Budget part of the Gambia legislative body. One of my responsibility then is I approve almost all the budgets or expenses of the union. And I look at the financial activities of the union and both as well as the audit reports and audit opinions. So what I come to learn and at my while serving at UTG level, it really, I don't know if it helped, but I think it really helps me because in many cases, we will see an auditor will write an opinion. But when we dig inside to investigate further, we will realize that auditor's opinion actually stand, but the money itself was not actually diverted. What was done is there was no proper, administrative follow-up as to how the money should be spent. In many cases, we established that the monies would be alleged to be missing or misused. But when we start digging, we realize that it was every budget of that money was spent. But then the documentation become a problematic. So that's what I always said. So with regards to this government and our NPP-led government, so the perceived corruption in the country is rampant. That's what many people believe, and that there's a corruption in the country. That is because I believe we still does not have a strong institutions that even National Audit Office. I still believe I'm in a view it is not that strong that it can actually independently audit every single expenditures of the government. Because this government has spent a lot of money, has got a lot of money and spent a lot of money, and also implement a lot of projects. So now, where we have issue is many people believe that the corruption is rampant. People are sharing money everywhere. But what we also fail to understand, the government, I believe, is very much aware of this and also very much prepared to tackle the corruption head on. That is why, in my view, the audit office under this government has been given an absolute priority and significant powers in making sure that the audit reports are published, regardless of what is in there. Previously, in this country, we hardly had audit report being released easily. I can't remember during the Jammeh time. Maybe I was not that much following, but I can't remember it. Audit report being scrutinized to that extent. But of course, we don't expect governments does not want to compare this government with Jammeh's era because that's what we fought for. We fought to bring that changes, that upon government. So I believe our party is very much cognizant of the fact that the government voted for change that is government. And that's why our party leader, the president, who happens to be our party leader, is very much cognizant of that. And regardless of what is in there, he always makes sure that he does not tamper, he does not play with the law. He makes sure he defends every single institution of the government. He went all out and making a bold statement that auditors are very powerful now. Auditors are doing their job. Everybody's been very careful now. He's only leader who believes in transparency and accountability, regardless who is involved. will actually go that far, knowing very well how auditors will do their job. So I believe the fact that recently this government have even audacity to go as far as releasing almost three years audit report to the public in election year. To me, I'm not only being a member of a party, but as a genuine Gambian who think we are all Gambians, regardless of who is in government and who is outside government. From my own perspective, I think the government have shown some sense of sincerity to the Gambian people, regardless of what is in this document, should be out for government to scrutinize and look at them and review them thoroughly. At the end of the day, once anybody is found guilty or otherwise, will be taken to court. Of course, you audit report alone is give us an idea on how our government is spending money. We have the privilege, like you ask if you have access to either participate and inform. Of course, we do have that access. I remember, I think, a couple of days after the audit reports were released, we had sat down with the chief of staff, and we had almost an hour discussion. We spoke at length in so many different issues. He told us what we think they know and the perspective and other things. We also asked questions and the questions were answered. So those were some of the things that we are also doing behind the scene, making sure that not to say that the government is actually corrupt. I don't buy that idea the government is corrupt. But I do buy the idea that if I am very much subscribed to the fact that we should come together and expose corruption. And not only to fight it and expose those who are involved and cherry pick. Because what is here is people, corruption is from both sides. That I always tell people. The public office holders in many cases get corrupted by the civilians. And the service providers in many cases get corrupted by the very civilians that should be protected. So I can give one scenario. For instance, I went to one of the hospitals. Similar thing occurred. I was actually fighting, not for myself, but for someone who has been sitting there with her young child for many hours. And people were coming and giving money to somebody to provide a service they're not supposed to be paid for. And the others were kept waiting. So I got into a point, I got frustrated. I started speaking up. And the very person that I was fighting for turned around to go against me and said, you don't have to fight. Me, my daughter, my kid need to be taken care of. So that's how much, how difficult things are sometimes when you want to fight. So if we all believe in this country, we think that there is no way out, the country should move. I believe we should all come together, both in and outside government, to make sure we fight for what we think is right, and we fight for what we think is good. At the end of the day, nobody can salvage this country for us. It's only Gambians who can salvage the country for us. And then for me, that's what I have to say with regards to that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I'm glad that you guys are engaged in talking about that. Like I said, I won't forget. I'll always keep in the back of my mind that you guys don't have any authority to make any change. You're not in authority. You're a student body in the university, and giving your analysis, recommendations, and things like of that nature, and also discussing what is happening. Hopefully, with the fact that when you guys get out of university and get involved in government, you will do something different, because there is a better way of doing something that is happening right now. So with that said, there are a couple of things that I want to make a correction on. Okay. And I'll give you an example before I make the correction. If I give you $5,000 today, and I tell you to go to the store and buy me $2,000 worth of stuff, and then on your way back, get a bag of rice or get me something that's worth $1,000. So I gave you $5,000. I'll speak Gambian dollars. Okay, I give you $5,000. You went to the store, to the supermarket, and you bought $2,000 worth of stuff. On your way back, I wanted something specific. Let's say a gallon of oil that costs $1,000, and I say, stop at this so and so maroon supermarket and grab a gallon, $1,000 a gallon of oil. Now that is total of 3,000 out of 5, correct? Right? And then you came home. You got everything I needed, and you bought those, and you came home, and you give me back 1,000, or you didn't. Let's say you didn't give me anything back. All right. I know that I gave you 5,000. You bought 3,000 worth of goods. The change should be 2,000, correct? That's a simple math that even a fifth grader should know.
That is very bad.
Right? Very simple. And now when you come home, you gave me all of that stuff that I told you to buy, but you did not tender the $2,000 back to me. And I come out and say, you're missing 2,000. Is that my opinion, or is that a reality? I'm asking you.
That's the reality. That cannot be an opinion.
Exactly.
That cannot be an opinion.
That's the reality. Good. So audit reports, I hate it when people say audit is an opinion. I know I heard the president himself said that. It is not an opinion, because you know why? I have audited myself. I've used a handheld and electronic system and went around the store and scanned all the inventory in the store. And I also counted every single penny in the drawer and in the safe, and counted every money, and ran reports and looked at transactions that came out of that, and compared the perpetual inventory to on-hand inventory and what was sold and what should be left there. And I said, this is it. The report spit out. This is what it is. It's not my opinion. It's the reality, and that is a fact. So I want people to understand that when an audit report comes out, auditors are not writing, I think they're missing this. I think they're not saying they think. They said, this is what's missing based on the actual numbers and the perpetual amount that they counted. So, and I want to make that clarification for people to understand, so they don't use the word opinion, because audit is a result of an investigation. It could be audit reports, and they make recommendations as well. But I don't think they talk about their opinions. They don't put opinions in there. So that's one I wanted to say. And the other part, I think I skipped that one. There was something else that I wanted to say something about. But at the end of the day, like I said, you guys are not the government. If you were a minister in the government, I would be speaking differently and with the same respect. I will speak with respect. I always speak to everybody with respect, right? But I will get down to the bottom line of where our funds going and things like that, and get into more detail and more scrutiny of things. But like I said, I think I'm going to thank you and your group for really talking about all of those, and hopefully you're taking advantage of that to think about the future, so that when you guys become part of the government, you do not let that happen. But the second part is, now I remember what I wanted to say. The second part I wanted to say, and you said that you don't believe there is any corruption. I think you said that, if I'm not mistaken, that you don't believe that there is corruption in this, or this government is corrupt. I would say that absolutely every government we had in the country since independence have all been corrupt. I'll say that. They've all been corrupt. From President Jawara's time, there was corruption. Jammeh's time, there was corruption. Barrow's time, there is still corruption. So these are things that are facts that people need to understand. But sometimes we have to accept the reality, then fight against it, and do what we can to help. I like to help the government. I made recommendations. I wrote proposals. I talk about them in my group and disseminate the information to thousands of people, and say, if the government can do this, and that, we'll help them. This is the way to tackle that problem. I don't, like I said, I do constructive criticism in my group. I don't criticize the government just for the sake of criticizing them. No, I talk about a problem and then come up with a solution. I want to help the government. I want to help every government, regardless of who is the president. I want to help the government because helping the government means you're helping our country, because our country belongs to the future youths of our country. So at the end of the day, I want to help the government, but you can only help someone if you tell them the truth. If you don't tell them the truth, you're not helping. You can even make matters worse. So I like to tell them the truth, but I'd like to help and come up with suggestions and recommendations. And I always guarantee If I come up with a recommendation, I've done quite a bit, from security reform, civil service. I made a proposal on comprehensive civil service reform. I talk about, even last week, I was talking about the 5 key ingredients in stopping corruption. If the government takes any of these, I can guarantee if they do it by the line, follow the line to the T, they will get it right. It will happen. Now, the question is, can they do it or will they do it? That is the question. But I like to help. Thank you.
Very good, very good. And
So,
I'd like to add, before our guest comes in, just to sum it up about this area that Mr. Tunkara kind of spent some time explaining, and then this corruption, because this is the elephant in the room. Gambia today, the biggest issue is not about freedom, it's not about anything, really dictatorship. In as much as sometimes, we will see the police or the president enforce certain powers that are not, especially removing the auditors that are not legit, but the courts will deal with that. We can only, speak about it. The courts will take its fair share on that. But the biggest elephant in the room, the biggest one is this corruption. And then, in as much as we want to bring it up, it gets downplayed. Gets downplayed in the sense that it's not a big deal. This report is an opinion. It's difficult to fight this thing. Is there really corruption? Come on. Let's be factual. The Gambia's biggest problem now is transparency in management of funds and accountabilities. And misprioritization of our national resources. That's it. That's why when we even mention change of government, beside, of course, Gambian people love 2 terms, presidency, which is a priority, which is something that we should always propaganda for and always practice across the board, even in political parties. I always say that, even if flag bearers upon orders, the term limit should be honored and observed. But beside that, the problem here is transparency and corruption. And I have to punish corruption. I have to make sure you deter it by punishment, by people, set an example, putting people on handcuffs, diplomats, people who have, and corruption comes in different ways. It's not only by cash, it could be by kind, it could be, by favors, it could be by abusing of national, the national office or, a public office. We've seen here in the U.S., senators, congressmen, they're going to handcuff and going to jail, spending time because of corruption. So corruption should be punishable, and I'm pretty sure this language should spread across the universities so that the student bodies can also know there's something out there that's called corruption that's killing us alive. It is eating us up. It is eating us up alive. What I mean, and our unborn children are already suffering before they were born, because the treasure, the national treasure, the national wealth that's supposed to be out there for them doesn't exist. What Sam mentioned our last show, this government, incur more debt in 8 years. Are we in 8 years or 9 years? More than Jawara's government and Jammeh's government combined. This is on record. We even mentioned it here. So that is saddening for somebody like me, having children who are not, who are just born, and others who their children are not even born. I mean, who's gonna pay for that? We might not be around during those times. So these are some of the things that I'm believing that you and the student bodies should be looking at. How do we curb corruption? How do we advise our parties, to fight this, to make sure that we have people in place who would implement policies and principles that will curb corruption? How can we get the National Assembly be more effective? Like some of you might be, leading the National Assembly and other law enforcement thing. We got to get you ready. How can we have this mindset that this is a battle that you need to fight, instead of even focusing more on having a particular party lead, we should be more focused on our country. This is my first thing that I mentioned here: patriotism, civic education. Because without that, if we don't safeguard our resources and our funds, we cannot develop. You know, two things: you safeguard your resources and your fund from exploitation from the outsiders and from within. And now you have good leaders who will create programs and visions to make those resources multiply and create more jobs, create more opportunities, and build the nation. But you have what you get, you have to safeguard that. So if anybody come around or yourself wanna misuse that, hey, no, that's a no go area. You do it, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna be handcuffed. You're gonna be humiliated. So this is start from top down. So that's what Sam is. You know me, I don't bit around. I mean, I'm saying Sam bits around the bush, but Sam is a nice kind of nicer guy, nicer than me because he kind of make everything look smooth. But I go directly to and that's why we have this platform like a very interesting because I come from the other side and Sam come from the smooth side to make it interactive. But your final words anyway. I hope Sam.
Thank you very much. But I'm no longer seeing Uncle Sam. I'm no longer seeing Uncle Sam on video. But it's fine. I hope you're hearing me.
I can see you and I can hear you loud and clear.
Good, good. So first, with regards to the corruption, I think I did not say. I mean, I would be very foolish to say that there's no corruption. Nobody can say that. You know, even in the most strongest governance, I had the privilege and opportunity to travel and live this country at the very early age of my life. I spent most part of my early life in South Korea and China. Okay. So I do know how their governance is. So what I do think we should do, I mean, there is a corruption in every government, and if people from the ruling party said we are conceding, we are not conceding, we are admitting the reality. Then it's only when you admit the problem that you have, you'll be able to work on it. That's my belief.
Good.
Okay. Yep. So the president. So I am from school of thought that believe there is a corruption. So I also believe one of the reasons that we have some of these issues that are going on is in our part of the continent is that we don't apply two things. Okay, for me, we don't apply sanctions, and we also have a significant administrative lapses. These are the two things that need to be adjusted on. Okay, our government, in this case, I am not lamenting as somebody in the government, but I strongly believe that we need to apply sanctions where it need to be, and administrative functions also need to be efficient and adequate. Okay, our public service need to be efficient, because at the end of the day, to me, if public service is efficient, everybody will be free, everybody will strive, the economy will strive, the nation will strive, everybody can get what you want, depending on what you have, what you can offer. But once the public service is inefficient, dilapidated, then we bound to have this kind of challenges. Okay, and if you're not applying sanctions to those who it need to apply on, obviously people continue to go scot-free. But I believe there should be something need to be done about this. However, the present opinion on the fact that statement on audit opinion, I think many people misrepresent or misquoted this. The president was saying on the context, he was speaking to he has a very marathon media chart. So at some point, he was trying to establish the fact that audit opinion is not enough, to put somebody in mile 2. In fact, it cannot be used as a prima facie to just charge someone to court. Audit opinion only give a red flag for a government or either parliament or the other arm of the government to take further steps in looking at some of the activity of certain ministry, department, agency, or even individuals. It is only after that they will be able to establish what the lawyers will call prima facie case against someone before you take in order to take someone to court, you must apply a prima facie on that person. Otherwise, you are going to go to court, and you will have your case thrown out, and that will be an embarrassment for government. No government will want to take some high-profile cases to a court without getting enough establishing enough evidence. So that was the context of which the president spoke on the audit opinion. But of course, our political enemies took that as President said, audit opinion is a mere opinion. Uncle, sir, I'm not saying you are political enemies. I'm talking about opposition. You are not
No,
one.
I understand that.
Okay?
So, yep. But the
So
thing is that the key word
So I want
opinion
I,
is
I want I
what
want that
needs
to
to
be
be taken
established.
out.
I have found a lot of platforms. I tried to
Yeah.
listen to that audio several times. I went a lot of
Okay.
platforms. I've been doing this clarification. And I believe this is the thing. But I don't believe the president said that the audit is mere audit opinion as some people are making it believe. No, that's not the case. The president really has auditors of his high esteem. He believes in transparency and accountability. But of course, as a government, when issue arise, you deal with them as they arise. If you look at the recently, when government has a marathon press conference at the Sadauda Conference Center, you have almost close to 7 or 8 ministers there. You see the range of issue that was disclosed. I also think that strongly government needs to be a little bit more open up than it is now. Because on that particular press conference, where I got to see a lot of information, and hear a lot of information that we ought to know that immediately they occurred. So they have taken a lot of disciplinary measures against so many people. They have dealt with a lot of corrupt cases, alleged corrupt abuse of offices, and so many other things that they make sure they corrected them. So, but the public does not know. So I also say a view that also some of the activity of the government needs to be a little bit more opening up, so that the public will know what is happening, and then they'll be able to support when needed, and of course criticize when need be.
So, yeah, let me, since you touched on that, let me clarify some things. And like I said, I'm keeping in the back of my mind that you don't have any, you're not in position to make any change. You're not in position to do anything. You are just in the university student wing, and you are a part of the movement, or you are the leader of the movement of the Gambian University for NPP, representing NPP. One thing that I would say, again, sometimes some words can be misleading. That there are certain words that really have a specific meaning. When you say opinion, opinion should not be related to audits. Audits, you say audit reports or audit investigations, not audit opinion. Not the auditor's opinion. It's not their opinion. It's the reality that they came up with. But anyway, without I'd like to have that debate with a minister, or even the minister of finance, or somebody else.
We'll, we'll get him.
But
We'll
not
get
you.
him here.
But
We'll get him here.
That helps.
one thing that I would say though, when I go to auditor's tour, I've done this so many times for the past years. I'm not doing that now. But when I go to audit a place, I count all their cash. I count everything. I look at all the reports. I run report from last month to now, or whatever time frame, and I come up with something. Or in fact, let's say I have an instance where this, in fact, I'll say a reality. All right, a reality, something that actually is a true story. I'm not thinking, a true story. One of my store managers did an audit, a report. Did their store report, and came short over $200, just over $200. All right. The next day, when I saw that, I was like, we got to find out why. So when something is wrong, you don't take it as an opinion or even a report or investigate. You need to look into it now, not later. So I went into this store and talked with the manager and said, where is this? Why are we missing this, this, and that? All right. And I said, well, we have the tools and technology. Let's look at the camera. We looked at the camera and saw an employee that actually took it and caused the shortage. I have it on camera. Reports showed one thing and reports did not lie. That was true. I went to the camera. I verified it on camera, and cameras don't lie either. What did I do? I called the police. And waited for the next day when this person is supposed to come to work. The next day afternoon, 2:00, she showed up at work. Police showed up and put her in handcuffs because I had already shown the video to the police. So evidence is already there. They put a handcuff on her and took her from the parking lot of the store. You can see on video Even outside cameras, I even have that video now. I'm not going to share it, but I have it somewhere.
Please.
But you can
Oh,
see
so
where she was being put in the police car because of stealing. She didn't take the whole $200. It was part of it was her. She was the one that caused part of it. A little bit over 100 on that one, and she was arrested. Which involved the lottery tickets as well. So she was arrested. You see, so that's what leaders do. You find something, auditors come in and say this is missing. Don't take their word for it. Find out, verify it, and take action. But you cannot let that slide for months and not taking any action. So we all know that in any criminal activity, every victim is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, right? But if you have evidence of something that you can show the police can arrest that person and then prosecute them, let the court decide their fate. That's how we can tell if all the evidence get to the court and the court find that person guilty, they will sentence them. If they are innocent, they will release them. They can go back to work. Just that simple. And setting that kind of example makes things go the right way, because everybody's going to know now they're going to hold everybody accountable. And I just give you one example. I can tell you, I don't know how many years now, I can tell you so many incidents, so many scenarios where I had to call the police, or I instructed a store manager to call the police to arrest an employee because I sat at home on my laptop and dialed into store camera and I saw something that is theft. And I called the store manager to say, get this person arrested. Just that easy. Technology. And all of this is in my comprehensive civil service reform. I mentioned a lot of things in the comprehensive civil service reform that is going to reform our civil service. Maybe the next time I come to Gambia, I need to come see you guys so I can give you some.
You know what? Maybe the next time we go to Gambia, we're going to have to recommend you to maybe serve the audit office, because this will
but if I can give you guys, I like to share ideas. There's no need for anybody to die with your knowledge. If you have knowledge on something, share it. That's my belief. That's my mentality. So if I come to you guys and share my knowledge with you, you can also document that. And in your hearings or in your meetings with your team, you can share these ideas. And hopefully it will also, I've already spoken about this for the past 3, 4, 5 years or so. But, and I also wrote a recommendation or a proposal. That way you guys can also recommend some of these. I know it's not going to be easy to do everything in the same time. Some may take some time, but there are bits and pieces that can be done that will close some loopholes for us. And at the end of the day, we are all citizens of the Gambia. We all love our country. That's why we are here talking about our country.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sam, for going in depth in this. And definitely, our viewers definitely will enjoy this. And we have past time. So I would like our guests to close us with a closing remarks. But this has been an interesting discussion, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of takeaway from all ends. So, Mr. Tunkara, your final remarks. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank the viewers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy. I'm glad to be with you. I have learned a lot. Like I said at the beginning, I came to learn, and I have indeed I have learned a lot from Uncle Sam, from Uncle Dr. Sawaneh. I look forward to meeting you guys. I mean, having a more conversation via phones, chats, so that we can learn a lot from you. I know that you love this country. At this age, you are still fighting for better, and we need more of you to work together in making sure that our country move. Like you said, nobody should die with the knowledge. So we just have to transfer it to those who are interested and who need it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. And
we appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here today. And I'm glad that you have a student movement there that is also looking into the future of the Gambia. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sawaneh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. See you all later.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Take care. And we will connect. Definitely. Thank you.